Welcome back to the channel, and we knew this moment would come. We've been following activities all around the world when it comes to XRP for years now. We saw the interest, we saw the building, and now it's all coming to fruition. This is why a lot of people understand where that price is going to go in the future. There probably, not financial advice, but there probably are a few explosions coming for XRP. One of them definitely is going to be RWA. When you're talking globally, you have to think RWA, real world asset tokenization. And I think that's one of the major things that is driving activity like this. This is major for sure. This article is titled Bitso Report. XRP rises as a dark horse in Latin American portfolios. Now, I read a few of these articles, okay? And writers are presenting it as though they don't understand why XRP is taking off in Latin America. How could that be possible? If you've been following XRP for a long time, you know about all the different projects, not just XRP, but the bank coins overall have been doing in Latin America. And when you follow those types of things, you know that they've worked with a lot of banks down there. They've done a lot of educational things down there. They've done a lot of experimentation down there. That makes the news. And also word of mouth is very strong. Trust me, I know. I mean, there's so many things that have taken place. Even a lot of times, some of the first times they've experimented with something, I'll give you an example. Like when they attached oil, the value of oil to back a stable coin. That was done in Latin America. All of this has been taking place over the years. It's just that it's been buried or people don't talk about it. I don't know why. I definitely paid attention. Why? Because I understand. I know the value that's locked down there. Wait. Let me read this little tidbit to you before I start really getting fired up. It says, the H1 crypto landscape in Latin America, report by Bitso found a surprising increase. Why is it surprising? A surprising increase in XRP, Ripple's digital asset, as part of the LATAM's crypto portfolios. Why? I don't see. Why would it be surprising? That's just wild to me to say such a thing. You don't think that the people in Latin America knew what was going on down there? Know about XRP? Here's the difference. It's just that with Latin America, you got to understand. They strike when the iron is hot. They move very strategically in Latin America, period. You may think that there's not activity happening. No, the people don't know. Only because when they move, you're not going to expect it. And when they move powerfully, whether it's their companies or individuals. They move powerfully. And right now, tell me, am I right or am I wrong? Is the iron hot? Right. And they're making the move. They see where everything's going. And another thing, a lot of times in Latin America, and this could be different from your experience than mine. What your connections are may be different than my own. But I'll say this. One thing about a lot of places in Latin America, companies and individuals represent the same energy, is that they don't want to be last. They're going to be first. They want to innovate. Period. I know this. They see the whole world many companies in the world starting to build up XRP treasuries. They know the price is going up because they know those companies expect that price to go up. You think they're going to be left out? Absolutely not. They see them building on the technology and the top technology being unleashed. You think they want to be left behind when Latin America was some of the earliest involved? Huh? Right. Muy linda. All of this is very nice. They know that. Listen, they're not the only ones. It's just they're highlighting this now. You see companies all over the world gobbling up XRP, piling up the XRP, Solana, all of these different things. They won't be the only ones because the time is near for a massive explosion. People, they know. And if someone doesn't know, that's on them. But you see the major chess moves happening right now. Make no mistake about it. Lives have been changed before. Multiple times. Lives will be changed again. This time, there's more people involved than before, and almost no one wants to be left out. I'm saying this is in all seriousness. But let's go here. Let's keep reading. They say more. It continues. While Bitcoin still accounts for more than half of the volumes held, XRP has dethroned Ether to become the runner-up. Why do you think that is? It's because of the high potentiality of XRP. Why are all these companies getting involved? Right. Let's keep going. It says, while the cryptocurrency market in Latin America shows itself to be concentrated between traditional cryptocurrencies and stablecoins, this might have started to change. The, quote, crypto landscape in Latin America first half 2025 report issued by Bitso, one of Latin America's largest crypto exchanges, shows that while Bitcoin is still king in the region, XRP climbed as a dark horse, surpassing more traditional options, and it's only going to continue to grow. I think there's a lot more it's going to grow, if you want to be honest. We haven't yet begun interbank payments. Folks, you know, most people buy when the price is going up. And one thing I've heard, and you may have heard different, that's your experience, this is mine. When something's below $10, a lot of big money people, you know, if I am to believe what I've heard over my lifetime, they think everything below $10 to $20 is cheap and will tell you to your face. I've heard this so many times. I'm just bewildered. I'm the type of person, I don't care where the price is. If I can make a good amount of value off of it, I'm going to make that value. I just don't think in that way, but definitely I've heard a lot of individuals think that way. I'm talking about in person. I've heard this. Which is always just bewildering. So they won't get involved, is what I'm saying. They exude this energy of, I don't want to get involved. It's less than $10, it's less than $20. What? Mind blowing. What do you mean? You don't want to make a ton of value off something that's lower price that's going to rise exponentially? That's ridiculous. In my humble opinion, that's ridiculous. I don't know. That's my experience. So if that remains true, that energy, that arrogance remains true, then a lot of entities, once XRP crosses $10, I'm not saying it's going to, that's just how I feel. I feel like it has all the potential to do such a thing, right? You make up your own mind how you feel about that, not financial advice. By the way, if you haven't already, please, if you like this content, make those two fists like this, leave those fingers pointed out, and click that like button. I humbly ask. But yeah, that means that later, those types of individuals would come in when it crosses $10, $20. They feel like it doesn't drag them down and make them look lesser than, I suppose, to their peers or something. That's what I'm getting from it. But anyway, so now moving on. It says, nonetheless, XRP managed to overcome Ether, becoming the second most held asset by investors, present in 12% of all accounts custody by Bitso. Ether comes in a close third with 11%, while stablecoins and local currencies reach 12%. So big things are happening, and I expect an explosion in activity in Latin America. They will be adopting these technologies rapidly now that everything is getting regulated. We still have a few more hurdles to go through globally to make sure that crypto is 100% in the clear. But once it is, make no mistake about it, all of those untapped resources, commodities, things just laying around, high value art pieces that can't move or move with great difficulty, apartment buildings, land, everything that can be tokenized, fragmented, and sold will be. And though in that first year, everything's going to move like lightning speed. If you were here during the NFT period, that NFT boom, it gave you a glimpse into how things are going to work. And look at what happened. Look at the value that everything went to. People were selling just colorful, basic cartoon pictures at that time, and the values were astronomical. So what do you think is going to happen with things that actually have substance? It's going to be wild, and they're going to move quick because people know that the first couple times that thing is bought, most likely it's going to be able to be flipped for or sold for a much greater amount. So it's going to move very quickly. Boom, boom, boom. Buy this, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. It's going to move very quickly. Which, if we're going to go by a certain thinking, a fire that burns brightest burns shortest. Right? I've heard that phrase a lot throughout my life. I believe it. So I don't know how long that's going to last, but that's up to people how, what they decide to do. But when that occurs, I would move quickly. I'm just not advice. I'm just saying I would move quickly. So now, so that's happening, right? That's great time period we're living in my humble opinion. So now we move on here. Okay. More XRP news and a little bit of Solana news. It says 21 shares crosses $1 billion in XRP and Solana ETF. All right, so let's find out what's going on here. 21 shares, a prominent issuer of crypto ETFs, has multiple ETFs related to XRP and Solana. The products are physically backed and listed on major European exchanges, including NASDAQ Stockholm, Euronext Amsterdam, and SIX Swiss Exchange. It explains the strong investor demand and institutional adoption of the company's crypto products. In a recent interview in the Crypto Beat, Allocate stated, quote, our XRP and our Solana ETFs crossed $1 billion in assets this year out of Europe. You can only imagine what that will look like in the US once those products are approved. So things are looking good. They're anticipated to continue on this very interesting trajectory. It continues here. It says, since Allocate's appointment in 2024, the company has continued to expand in terms of product lineup and business strategy. Okay, they go into a little bit of that, but I'm not interested in that. As long as they're doing well with XRP and we're hearing good news about XRP and they're anticipating the US to have an explosion, which I think now most of us are seeing the writing on the wall. The US is going to go berserk with crypto. There's no other way. And I'll tell you something else. I usually don't talk about the retail aspect, but that is a variable. It could be a significant variable for a lot of different cryptos, and I'll tell you why. Now, if you look at the articles that are coming out, if you watch a lot of videos about the job market, jobs have been very tight. They're rarely hiring people. All right. So that has been that's going to put the average person in a state where they need capital. You look at so that goes right along with the M2 money supply. People's savings accounts are still dry. Credit cards maxed out. Once again, people need capital and they need it now. They need it quickly. So there's that. There was another thing I wanted to add to that. So once the media, the mainstream media starts this push, and I know that they will, because the people at the top control the mainstream media. When they give that push and they say, hey, crypto is okay, they're going to paint it, in my humble opinion, or at least one possibility, they're going to paint it as if they have control of crypto, even though they don't. They're literally giving up, not only, they've never had control of crypto, but they're also, what they don't want the people to know is they're also giving up a lot of their own control to be a part of the new financial system. They won't be the prime controllers. They'll have to go through these DLT companies for almost everything they want to do. They want to expand. They got to talk to the DLT companies in order to expand. You want, and I mean, as far as interoperability, one, global reach, number two, and pretty much anything that involves them continuing to exist in the state that they're currently in, as well as expanding and growing exponentially to the degree that the new financial system is supposed to allow them in the first place. But the people won't know that. But they'll make this push and they'll say, oh, we're in charge. Crypto's okay now. You can come get some from the banks and from us. And the people will flood in. And what's going to be at the forefront, folks? What's popular right now? Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, Chainlink, XLM is going to be right there. They're going to hear about these things just like you and I did. Those are the things that the companies trust. HBAR. And they're going to get a bank and a media push at some point. My humble opinion. It's just from my estimations. And the retail aspect will come. They will bring whatever capital they can because they want to double it, triple it, quadruple it as quickly as possible. And at that time, I believe crypto will be moving at an astronomical pace. The companies desire it. The nations desire it. They've always wanted their hands on crypto, and now they've gotten it. They're going to max it out. That's why they're buying tons of XRP now. They're buying tons of Bitcoin now. They're buying tons of Solana and a lot of other things that probably are not covered enough. And the pros are the ones exposing it. I'm not just saying that. You get these pro companies like Sentiment exposing these huge buys. And now some of the companies are coming out and letting people know, hey, we have a reserve. Every other day we're learning about a new company who's collecting some sort of cryptocurrency, one of the top cryptos. That tells you they expect that price to go much, much, much higher. And if you had influence over the media, you owned music companies, they'll tell their folks, they'll tell their musicians to promote this stuff. Those musicians have to do it. Have you seen musician contracts? They're going to have to do it. They want to get paid and maintain a good relationship with these companies and large asset managers. They'll tell their actors to promote this stuff. You're going to see it in the media and the news. This happens all the time, only not with things that are much less potent than crypto. And here's the thing. When they make that push and they tell people, hey, crypto's good, go get it. It's going to be great for you. The people will get the crypto and they will do great. And that's where the real trick lies. Because word of mouth is going to be so powerful because the proof is there. When crypto starts skyrocketing, they're going to report, oh, this is going up, this is going up. That, for lack of a better word, that hate for crypto they usually have, that disdain, I should have said disdain for crypto that they had, you won't hear that anymore. It'll be nothing but glee. People will forget that crypto had this disdain over it for so long. And they will flood in. And they will tell their friends, I made this much from crypto. I made this much. We've seen glimpses of this before. And it'll go on for 4, 5, 6 months. People will just be in this euphoric state, a real euphoria. When I say a real euphoria, typically it's just it's the same minds and same actors over and over again in crypto and stock market. No, this time it'll be much bigger. That's what I mean. It'll be a lot of people who never experienced this before. And the companies will use that to their advantage, and crypto will reach an astronomical price. Because it's not about retail necessarily. I'm speaking about the retail aspect. But what does it do? When you bring that massive piece of retail in, think about it. There's a bunch of fish in the pond. That pond over there is dry. That pond over there, it's okay, but it's not as good as this one. And all of the other fishermen are hearing about it. The fishermen are the companies, the banks, nations. The people are the fish. You bring all that retail in, more companies start to come. Oh, there's people that we can compete with and sell on, and there's more money coming in. Really, we can take more retail. They love that. They love it. More companies will come. But what does that do? When more companies start to jump in because they want a piece of that pie, and they know the pie won't last forever, that's when that price starts really skyrocketing. And I'm talking about apart from interbank payments, apart from RWA. This is a separate thing, and it's on its own. They'll start jumping in. And when those companies start jumping in because of retail, that's when those prices start to really, really skyrocket. These are things I will watch out for. Once you see it beginning, I will start to expect some explosions in price. Just being honest. All right. So now, something that I think about all the time. I just don't discuss it all the time. So now here, we have a little bit of Bitcoin news. I'm surprised we haven't heard any lightning or thunder. It's supposed to be a massive storm coming in. This article is titled Bitcoin Institutional Volume Hit 75% on Coinbase. Institutional. And new BTC price signal. Let me guess. Bitcoin's looking good. I have to say that. You know why? Because so many articles weeks ago, Bitcoin might be done. Bitcoin, it may crash and be finished. Yeah, that could happen anytime. And I could wake up in the morning and stub my toe, but I didn't. Let's look at what the actual possibilities are. All the catalysts remain and are becoming stronger, and thus Bitcoin should theoretically remain on this upward trajectory for a good amount of time until you begin to see those catalysts negated. But let's begin here. It says BTC price gains may be around the corner. I knew it. There's no way it's not. Now, what does around the corner mean? I don't know. Few weeks, few months, you tell me. But the potentiality is there. And yeah, I like to say potentiality, not potential. Like I like to use different words. I don't like to be bored at all, folks. All right. So now, Bitcoin price gains may be around the corner as institutional Bitcoin demand puts in a classic bullish move. Let's scroll down here. I'm going to eat some food after this. I'm not sure what it is. Bitcoin showing at a beautiful green $122,786. I like it. I like it a lot. That's a good price right there. Not too far from 150K. Not too far. We made it a long way, didn't we? Right? We definitely did. We made it far with everything, right? Well, right now, right? With most things. I won't say everything. I mean, most things. He says, also, Bitcoin is due for fresh gains within a week as institutions step up BTC buying. New analysis predicts. And I was telling people, I watched the institutions a couple of videos back, right? In an X post on Wednesday, Charles Edwards, founder of crypto quantitative digital asset fund, Caprioli Investments. That's how you know I'm hungry. At first, my mind didn't read Caprioli. I promise you, my mind read Chipotle's. I don't even eat Chipotle's, but that's what I saw. Right? That ever happened to you? Anyway, Caprioli Investments pointed to booming outflows from U.S. exchange Coinbase. I would make some quesadillas after this, to be quite honest, but I can't because the other day I ordered some cheese, right? I had some cheese delivered. I did not want to go to the store, although I probably should have, because then when the people delivered the cheese, it was the wrong cheese. How do you mess up my cheese? So I can't use that cheese now. So I'm going to offer it to someone else, someone close to me. They eat that cheese. I'm going to let them have it. But I could go for some quesadillas for sure. Maybe I'll have to venture out in the storm and go get some cheese. Anyway, Bitcoin is once more a target for institutional buyers. Once more. Okay. Let me not be too nitpicky. Let me move on. Institutional buyers as U.S. inflation cools and markets see lower interest rates next month. Capriole data showed that on Tuesday, 75% of Coinbase's volume came from institutional players. Quote, all readings above 75% have seen higher prices 1 week later, unquote, he noted. Capriole calculates institutional, quote, excess demand this week as 600% of the number of the roughly 450 Bitcoin mined daily. Bitcoin corporate treasuries alone added 810 BTC to their holdings Tuesday, with Monday's tally even larger at nearly 3,000 BTC. I have to come up with a title for this video. Coming up with titles for videos right now are so difficult. But anyway, that's not something you have to be concerned with, right? But it's something that's on my mind. Like, what title am I going to use? The moves accompany lower than expected U.S. Consumer Price Index data for July and BTC price push toward all-time highs. Asked why institutions, quote, went crazy as a result, Edwards drew specific attention to the outlook for interest rates. That is a catalyst for sure. That's a catalyst. You don't think another catalyst is that? And I'm personally whittling the number down. I'm hoping more businesses are getting in at an exponential rate, but we have to wait on the numbers. The last time I saw was like over 70% of U.S. businesses were not into crypto as of yet, or Bitcoin as of yet. So hopefully that number has changed. That's how I'll just leave it at that. Hopefully that number has changed. And them knowing that more and more businesses are going to be getting involved and that price is going to be going up. Why would you not get in now if you're a company? You get in now, you get in early, you ride that price up, you sell on those other companies that come later. And that's the major entities who are going to be sold on. It's not going to be retail in the future, in my humble opinion. My humble opinion, I could be wrong. But globally, and I know I focused on the US, but globally, there's going to be so many businesses involved. It's going to be easy it's going to be easy to win against them. They can't move as fast as we can. They can't. We're going to dominate them. They're walking into a spider's web of which they're not prepared to deal with the consequences. They're not. That's just my humble opinion, all right? Not financial advice. But I think in the future, many entities and individuals will feast on the banks. Majorly on the banks are going to get feasted upon. I'm not sure if I said that correctly. They're going to be eaten up. We're going to take a lot of value from them. But the businesses also. We're going to feast on the business's value. It's going to be easy, in my humble opinion. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.